All right. This is why I wanted to make the Geno Smith and Tyler Lockett videos yesterday, because I knew today could be pretty active, and it already has been. Hope everyone's doing well today. Hope everybody is maybe a little bit more clear-minded on what's going on with the Seattle Seahawks right now, because I gotta tell you, I'm just a little bit confused right now. So let's get to the news first. Let's get to the news, and then let's talk a little bit more about speculation at the end of this. But let's start with the concrete news because we do have some breaking news hot off the presses from Adam Schefter. The Seattle Seahawks have re-signed one of their veteran defensive players before free agency opens up tomorrow. Defensive tackle Jarran Reed is re-signing with the Seahawks. We don't know the exact contract particulars yet, but it's a 3-year deal worth up to $25 million with the team. So, just to go ahead and just talk about the brass tacks of it, Jarran Reed is a player who's been a longtime Seahawk. He took a couple of years on a couple of other different teams. But he ultimately came back to Seattle, and now it looks like he's going to retire in Seattle. So, on some level, that is pretty cool. I will acknowledge that. I will also say Jarran Reed has well exceeded my expectations since coming back here after going to, I think he spent a year in Green Bay. I think it was a year in Kansas City. So I understand that he's been good these last couple of years. He's been a valuable player, and on some level, there is probably an argument to be made that he is worth an extension of some degree of decent money, like what we're looking at right here with the 3 years up to 25 million. And I also want to say up to 25 million very probably indicates that a good chunk of this money is tied up in incentives. And I also want to say that it's also probably structured in a way that is not too different from Bobby Wagner's contract with the Rams. If you guys remember that contract, that was a 5-year deal, but uh it was basically a walk in the park for them to release Wagner after 1 year, which they did. And really, while it was a 5-year deal, it was really a 1-year deal with a little bit of dead money at the end. So this deal is probably similar. Now, we don't know for sure. Maybe we'll find out a little bit later. But I will acknowledge that the sticker shock of this $25 million contract is probably not warranted quite yet. That being said, I have to admit I'm just a little bit confused right now with what the plan is. So, look, Jarran Reed, like I said, he's a good player and he probably deserves to get paid a significant amount of money based on what he's done the last couple of years. He's also 32 years old. He has a lot of miles on him. He's played a lot of football over the last, we're coming up now on year number 10. And he's well, not super undersized, but he's a little bit of an undersized defensive tackle, especially if you look at him as a nose tackle. Now, here's the thing. If we were looking at him as a nose tackle, I might be able to see a little bit of wisdom here, but I don't know if that's what we're doing here because Jarran Reed was here last year, and me and the Hawks Nest have had some conversations about this. While the Seahawks did do a pretty good job of playing him at nose tackle in 2023 when Carroll was here, McDonald didn't seem like he was a big fan of it. So is that going to change in 2025? Because I can't figure this out any other way. You've got Leonard Williams, who just had one of the best seasons of any defensive player in the league last year, legitimately one of the best. And then you've got Byron Murphy, your first round pick last year, who should see a significant acceleration in his role in 2025 because he's a year older and has a year of experience under his belt. So if Jarran Reed is your 3 tech, where are the snaps going to come? How is he going to get on the field in any meaningful way? Unless you're planning on playing Byron Murphy at nose tackle, which I don't really care for that. The only way I care for this, the only way this makes real sense to me is if the contract is fake, like I use the Bobby Wagner contract as an example. Taysom Hill's another player that's also signed some kind of fake contracts in recent years where he doesn't get anywhere near as much as the contract looks like he's gonna get. But he's kind of your third string three tech, and I do think this team needs to have a third string three tech. But I didn't think it was going to be Jarran Reed, an aging past his prime Jarran Reed. So the alternative would be that he's the nose tackle. And if that's what we're doing here, then I kind of get that because I think Jarran Reed was good as a nose tackle in 2023, and he's proven that's kind of his natural position. But at the same time, I don't feel like Jarran Reed played a lot of true nose tackle last year. I mean, remember, Byron Murphy got hurt in week 3, partially because he was playing out of position at nose tackle. And Jarran Reed was healthy for the entire season last year, basically, and we still didn't seem like we really were embracing that. So my assumption was that McDonald didn't view him as a nose tackle that could work in his system. So has that changed? And if it did change, I would wonder why. And if not, then what is he going to do? Play big edge? I don't think that's something he's ever really done before, at least not significantly. Is Leo going to play a lot of big edge? If so, why didn't we see more of the... I don't know, guys. I don't know. This one, I'm scratching my head a little bit right now because I don't know how it fits in. He's a good player. At least I can say that, right? He's a good player, but you're making a move like this. And look, if this ends up being a nothing deal, like let's say this 3 years, 25 million ends up being more like 1 year, 4 million with 3 million cap hit and 1 million dead where it's really just all fake, then okay, that's one thing, right? Then you're just kind of getting a backup. But we got another report either earlier today or late last night that the Seahawks are basically going into fire sale mode on DK Metcalf. I'm not going to go too deep into this in this video, but basically it sounds like we have lowered our asking price from a first and third to a second, down from a first and a third to a second, which is a massive, massive lowering of an asking price, which tells me that we just want him gone. We don't really care what we get. We just want him out of town. So on the one side, you're re-signing an older player, and let's forget for the fact that I don't know what role he's going to play on this team. On the one hand, you're re-signing an older player to a contract that at the very least looks intimidating right now. We'll see what ends up happening. On the other side, you're trying to give away, basically, you're trying to fire sale one of your better players in his prime. I don't see how these two moves make sense. Like, I could understand giving away Metcalf if the plan was to just, kind of blow it up a little bit and build around the really young players and aim for 2026. I would understand the Jarran Reed signing if the plan was to go all out in 2025 and just try to make a deep playoff run and win a Super Bowl right now. But taking both at the same time, it feels like the team is getting pulled in two different directions. Maybe DK wants out so badly he's already said, look, I'm going to retire before I play for you again. If so, that's a little different, but there's no indication that's happening right now. So I don't know. I don't know what to think right now. I'm a little bit confused. I got to admit, I'm not really sure what to make of all this right now. Again, there are definitely ways in which this Jarran Reed deal can make sense. But based on what we saw last year, I don't know if that's the case. Jarran Reed was good for us in 2024. I think that he does deserve to get paid money. But does it make sense here where we've got Big Cat Leonard Williams and Byron Murphy taking up snaps on the defensive line? It does if Reed's going to play nose tackle, but is he? Does McDonald look at him that way? I feel like we would have seen a little bit more of it in 2024 if that's how McDonald felt, right? And we're not even letting him hit the market, too. We're not even like letting him go out there and find out, hey, my market isn't what it was. We're paying him now. So I'm not going to I'm not going to say anything with finality until we know what this deal is. I'm just not, because this could end up being a fake deal where really it's just like I said, it could be end up being like a 1 year deal with like 4 million, 3 million cap hit, 1 million dead next year. It would be like the Bobby Wagner contract with the Rams a few years ago. It would be like a Taysom Hill contract with the Saints. That stuff happens. But even then, I'm wondering what his role is. Do we just view him as a pure backup? I think he played a little too good last year to be viewed as a pure backup. And quite frankly, I wish I had more confidence that Mike McDonald viewed him as a nose tackle the way Pete did. So you take this in conjunction with the supposed report that we have drastically lowered our asking price on DK Metcalf. I'm not making a lot of sense of what's going on right here. I'm just not. I'm confused. I'm scared. I'm wondering what the plan is, and I'm also wondering if the plan is any good. And by the way, I know there has been more reports about some Geno Smith stuff, and people are going to be wondering about that. I'll make a video about that later, but I needed to get this out now because this just broke. So yeah, just the news. Jarran Reed re-signing 3 years, 25 million, up to. Again, it's probably incentive laden in some way, but we need to see this full deal before we pass full judgment. I have partial judgment. I don't really get it. I don't dislike it because I think he's a good player and I think he should be good for the next few years, at least. Maybe not quite as good as he's been, but he'll be good. But I don't understand the strategy here. I just don't. Maybe someone else does. See you guys later. Go Hawks. See you guys in a few hours. I'll make at least one more video today, I think.